Hey guys, Lore Master here, and welcome back to another Minecraft modding tutorial video. In this episode, we'll be making a fully functional item. It'll be custom, you can make it whatever you want, and it should be textured and all that fun stuff. It should be really simple, so let's get right into it. So first, we're gonna have to make a new package within our column.loremaster.tutorial mod, or whatever yours is named. So come back up to this little package up here, right click, hit new, and package. And after this little string again, we're gonna hit a dot, and this is gonna be called init. Now this package is gonna hold our initialization classes to help us, make to help us make items and blocks inside of our mod. So inside of that package init, we're gonna right click and make a new class. And this class is going to be called mod items, capital M and capital I in items. And this is gonna hold, you can hit finish, all of our mod items, obviously. We'll go into more detail about how to actually customize those items later, but for now this is just actually making the items. So inside of your public class, you can just move down this bracket just to make it cleaner. Inside of here, you're going to want to type public static final list with a capital L, and then these little triangle brackets, I believe is what they're called. And inside of these brackets, item, singular, not plural, with a capital I. Then after that, a space, and in all capitals, items. And this is going to equal a new array list with a capital A and a capital L. Another set of triangle braces or brackets, and inside those again, item. And after that, parentheses. And a semicolon at the end, of course, to mark the end of the sentence. And so that's basically gonna create an array list of items. If you don't know Java syntax, not important, but that's what it's doing. Then after that, we're gonna make a couple spaces, then type public static final item with a capital I, space, and then the name of your item in all capitals. So in my case, it's gonna be a ruby, so I'm gonna just type ruby. If you were making an obsidian ingot, for example, you would say obsidian. Can I spell obsidian? Obsidian underscore ingot. So just have an underscore between each word essentially, and have it be in all capitals. But in my case, it's just going to be ruby, and this is going to equal a new item base with a capital I and a capital B, item base, parentheses, and inside those parentheses, a set of quotation marks with your item name in just lowercase. So in my case, ruby. If you were making, say, obsidian ingot, obsidian underscore ingot. But again, I'm just doing ruby, so ruby, and a semicolon at the end of that little segment. Now you'll have all these errors. You're gonna wanna hover over each one and import them. So item base, hover over that. Oh, my bad, sorry. We'll be creating item base as a class later, so don't worry about that for right now. But item, you can import. Make sure to import it from netminecraft.item. You can import array list from Java util, and you can import list from, make sure, there's a bunch of different versions, make sure to import list from java.util, not AWT, so the first one in my case. And you'll have one more error, like I said, for item base, but don't worry about that, we'll be actually turning that into a class. Now, in order to actually make my my object, or my item, appear in the world, we're gonna need a few things first. We're gonna have to make a interface, which is a Java term for a different type of class, essentially. That's gonna be going in the util package. So go over to the util package, right click, and hit new, and interface. And that might have been a little too fast if you've never used Eclipse before. Usually when you hit new, there'll be a class. That's what we usually go to. Right below that, it's interface. It'll be like an eye with a blue circle. But you hit that, and this interface is going to be named I with a capital I, has with a capital H, and model with a capital M. Kind of a weird name, but hit finish. And this interface is going to essentially store just one little sentence. We're going to put in bring this bracket down for aesthetic purposes. We're gonna put inside of here public void register capital M models with parentheses and a semicolon. And I'm just gonna get rid of these spaces. That's all you need. It's very simple. You can just save, and that again should be in the util package. So you can just close out of that and go back to your mod items. And remember, we have that item base that I was talking about. We need to create that class in order to actually define some characteristics about the item. So we'll be doing that in a separate package. So go to your column.loremaster.tutorial mod, right click, hit new, package, and again at the end of the string, make a dot, And this one is going to be called items because obviously we'll be storing our items information. So hit items, or sorry, hit finish. And in this package, right click, new, and class. And this class is going to be called item base, which stands for like all of the base items that we'll be modding. Now this class is going to have to do a couple things first. We're going to have to make sure it extends item. So come up to public class item base and extends item with a capital I. And it's also going to have to implement that that interface that we made earlier. So right here, ihasModel.java. So after extends item, you're going to want to type implements with lowercase I, and then essentially the name of your interface. So ihasModel and another space. And you're gonna have to import these, so hover over them and just import. Hover over this and import. Make sure you import item from net.minecraft.item. And you'll have another error right here. Just highlight over that and highlight add unimplemented methods. And we'll keep this here for now. We'll be using this later, but for now just leave it there. And right above this, the register models, we're going to make a constructor. If you don't know what that means, it's Java syntax, but we're gonna be making one of those. And so what we're gonna type is public item base, capital I and B, parentheses, and inside here string name, and add a little set of brackets right below. And inside of here we're going to be setting some like basic characteristics. So first, set unlocalized name, that's with a capital U and N, and in those parentheses name, add a semicolon at the end of that, and we'll make a new line. This will be set registry name with parentheses and name again inside of it. And lastly, we're going to put set creative tab. And in parentheses, we're going to put creative tab, sorry, with an S, capital C in creative and capital T in tabs, dot materials in all capitals, and a semicolon at the end of this. And make sure to import creative tabs from net.minecraft.creative tab. And what we're doing here is we're actually setting our item to go into the materials tab of the creative inventory. Obviously we'll be changing this later as we'll be making a custom creative tab, since that's a lot more professional and just a lot easier to access. But for now, just set it to materials, or actually, you know, if you just hit dot, there's actually a bunch of different creative tabs you can put yours in. So just choose whichever one fits yours best. Mine's Ruby, so it's going to be going in materials, like I said, because that's where all the ingots are. So materials. And I actually lied, we're going to need one more thing inside of here. We need to actually set like the item into the item like group. So sorry, that was a little confusing. Essentially we need to like tell Minecraft that this is an item. So you're going to want to type mod items dot add, and just inside of here, these parentheses, just hit this and add a semicolon at the end. So we're adding this item to the mod items, which is what we have our class up here called. So a little confusing, but hopefully that made sense. And down here in our register models, we're going to actually have to like register the item. So inside here, just hit this bracket down for aesthetic purposes, and we're gonna put main dot proxy dot register with a capital I item and a capital R renderer. And in parentheses, we will put this, comma, 0, comma, in quotation marks, inventory. Inventory, there we go. Thought I couldn't spell for a second. And semicolon at the end. And you'll notice that there will be an error here, so this thing will be red. Don't worry, we're gonna set this right now. So essentially this is gonna be in our common proxy, which is the class we made in our proxy package. So we're gonna do that right now. Essentially, we're just defining it as a method. So go to your proxy package and find common proxy and double click that. And inside of here, we're gonna have to put a little string. So just kick this bracket down one more. And inside of here, we're going to type public void register item renderer, again with the capital I and capital R, and in parentheses, item with a capital I, and then item lowercase, comma, int meta, comma, string with a capital S, and ID. And then just add some brackets to the bottom of this. Actually, we're not going to put anything in here, so you can actually just keep them up here. That would be a lot easier and a lot more organized. So just keep them up there, and you can save that. So that should fix the error in item base. Just, oh, we actually need to make sure it's in client proxy too. That's right, because client proxy is a extends common proxy. So that's what you have to do when you have a subclass. So open up client proxy, and inside of client proxy, we're going to want to kick this down, and inside of here, we will be typing public void register item renderer. Again, same thing we put in common proxy. And again, same thing, item, capital I, item lowercase, int meta, and string capital S, ID. And we're actually going to put some stuff inside of this one in order to actually define the model loader, I think would be the best. Yeah, so we'll put, here, kick this down just to make it nicer. I like when the brackets are all below it looks nicer. We'll put model loader with a capital M and a capital L dot set custom model, and you'll see this thing right here highlighted. Just double click that. It'll bring up this long string. Leave item, you're gonna want to delete data and just leave meta. And in model, you're actually gonna want to delete that and instead put new model resource location, capital M, R, and L, and a set of parentheses. And inside those parentheses, you're gonna want to type item dot get registry name. You can just double click it right here. And then actually after that, we'll have a comma, and we actually have to put the ID. So comma space ID. And I know this is really long, but it should look something like this, and you will get a little error right here, but if you hover over that, you can import it from net.minecraft. So just import it, and that should get rid of any errors. And if we go back to item base, you can see that this error, it's a missing a type item. Alright, so I'm stupid. The reason we still have an error here is because in common proxy, I actually forgot to import items. So just hover over item in common proxy and import from net.minecraft.item. And if we save and give it a few seconds, if we go back to item base, there we go. It should get rid of the error, and now you should be all good with your item base class. So finally, we just have to actually register our item. This is the most tricky part, but it should be pretty straightforward. So inside of your util package, you're going to want to right click and make a new package, and this is going to be inside of the util one. So just keep util and hit dot at the end, and this is going to be called handlers. This will be handling the registering of our blocks and items later on. So handlers, and inside of this package, right click and create a new class, and we're going to name this registry handler, because obviously it will be handling the registry, if that makes any sense. So inside of this this class, we'll be making a few things. They're going to be called subscribe events. Don't worry about if you don't know what that means. Just follow along the best you can. So right above public class registry handler, we're going to have an @ tag. This will be an event bus subscriber. And you can just import that from Minecraft Forge. And inside of the class, we are going to actually kick this down because I like it. It's a lot nicer. You don't have to, but that's what I like to do. And inside of here, we're going to create a new subscribe event. So @ subscribe event. And below this, public static void on item with a capital I and register with a capital R. And then in parentheses, registry event dot register. Oh, Jesus, we don't want any of that stuff. Okay, Control Z, registry event dot, oh gosh, if you do a space, it'll do that little like fill in thing. We don't want that. So just have a dot, registry event dot register, and then triangle braces and item with capital I and event. There we go. So this is what it should actually look like. It was auto-filling for me, which we don't put a semicolon there. It was auto-filling for me, which is not great because Eclipse loves to do that, but don't do that. Just put this inside of the parentheses. And after that, we're gonna make a little bracket. So 2 brackets. Then inside here, event.getRegistry, parentheses, and .register, all with a capital A. Another set of parentheses, and inside of those, mod items with a capital M and a capital I, dot all capitals items, dot to array with a capital A, and another set of parentheses, and inside of this set of parentheses, new space item with a capital I, a set of brackets which signifies the start of a new array, and the number 0 inside. And if we hit save, you'll notice that there are a few errors. So first, mod items, you're going to want to import mod items from our package that we made. You're also going to want to, get rid of this. I don't know why this is here. That should not be there. My bad. Definitely make sure it says public static void. That was weird. It must have autofilled for me when I wasn't looking, but don't do that. Make sure it says public static void on item register and has this inside of it. And subscribe event you'll have to import to from Minecraft Forge. So after this, we're gonna have to make one more subscribe event, and then we're done with the registry handler. So right below this subscribe event, just make a little space, and we're gonna put another, actually, you know what? Just copy and paste this little section right here. Right click, copy, and paste. Where are you? Paste. And keep subscribe event, but instead of on item register, we're gonna wanna put on model register with a capital M. So on model register, and you can get rid of all of this and just put instead model registry event. And you can just keep event as the variable name. And make sure to import this from net.minecraftforge. And inside of here, we're going to put a set of brackets. And I don't know why there's a bracket here. You can just delete that. Must have been from the copy and paste. And inside these brackets, we will be putting a for loop. So for parentheses, item with a capital I, space, item, just lowercase, then colon, space, mod items with a capital M and a capital T, or sorry, items, a capital I, I'm stupid, dots, in all capitals, items. And we're gonna have another set of brackets after this, because it is a for loop, and inside this for loop, we're gonna have an if statement. So, if, parentheses, item, space, instance of, space, I has model, which is our, not all capitals, I has model, which is the interface that we made earlier. Then if that is an instance of, so put another set of brackets, we will have to set the register model. So that's kind of confusing, I guess. Put a set of parentheses and then another set of parentheses, and inside that second set, I has model. And outside in like the second set or the first set of parentheses, item. And then after that, dot register models with a capital M and a set of parentheses with a semicolon. I know, like I said, registry handler is the most confusing part, but we're basically done. So all you have to do is import I has model, and that should be it. Yeah, so now your registry handler class is done. And now on to the most daunting part of this entire tutorial series, the JSON file and essentially texturing your item. This is the part that most people will get so frustrated on that they'll end up quitting the entire mod and probably deleting it. It's happened to me so many times, I can't even count. It's just ridiculous. The reason for that is because Eclipse doesn't actually tell you when you do a JSON file wrong, so it's really easy to mess this part up. So I would recommend watching this part very, very carefully, because it's really hard to like fix these kind of errors. But you can delete all these, or not delete them like in your package file, don't do that, but just close these for right now. All you're gonna want to need is mod items, and actually we forgot to import item base anyway. So inside of mod items, make sure to import item base and save. Once you've done that, now we can actually do our textures. So first thing you're gonna want to do is come to your resources folder right here, where we have our mcmod.info, and you're going to want to right-click, new, and package. Now this is gonna be kind of a long package, so hang with me. But essentially, we're gonna put assets dot your mod ID. So in my case, it's tutorial mod or TM. Like I said, if yours is void rift mod, it'd be VRM or VM or something. So whatever your mod ID is, which you set in reference.java. So TM dot lang first. Then we're gonna go back to here, back to our assets.tm.lang. Right click, new, package. Get rid of lang and put models. And then do it again up here at assets.tm and create a new package and add dot, I believe textures is what we want. Yeah, textures. So you should have an assets.tm package inside of your resources folder. And inside of that package, you should have a lang, models, and textures. Now inside of models, we're going to want to make another package. So right click models, new, package, and add a dot items. It's very important here that you have item, or sorry, not items, item. You want dot item. It's very important that you don't have items, because that'll mess up the entire thing, and your what is it called? Your model like JSON file won't be read. So very important, make sure it's item singular. And in textures, you're going to want to right click, new, package, and this one instead of items is going to be, or instead of item is going to be items. So essentially, I know that was kind of confusing because I messed up, but make sure that models is .item and textures is .items plural. That's very important. Some people have had really big issues with that and haven't been able to figure out what's wrong with their mod, but that is usually the case. So inside of our lang, we're going to want to right click, create a new, I believe it's an untitled text file, and inside of here is where we're going to put all of the names of our items. So our item is named Ruby. As we can see up here in mod items, we have our Ruby object. So inside of untitled one, you're going to want to type item.ruby.name. Again, replace Ruby with whatever the name of your item is right here. So whatever this is, ruby.name, and this is going to equal, and then just type whatever the name you want. So in my case, Ruby. If yours was, again, obsidian, oh, sorry, don't do that. If yours was obsidian ingot, you'd put obsidian ingot, blah, 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 whatever. It's important that you have no spaces here too. Just make sure it says equals like right next to name. So again, mine is Ruby. And then once you're done with that, hit save. And inside of here, you're going to want to name it en_us.lang, which stands for English United States version .language, and save it in tutorial mod, source, main, resources, assets, tm, or whatever your mod ID is, then lang. Save it in there and hit OK, and it should pop up right here in lang. And you can double click, let's just make sure. There we go, and that's our item Ruby, and it's named Ruby. So after that, we are going to be actually making the JSON for our texture. So go over to models.item and right click and create a new untitled text file. So like I said, JSON files are extremely annoying to work with because Java doesn't actually tell you when there's errors unless you install a custom add-on. So in this case, I'm actually going to provide a paste bin in the description right now that you can click, and it'll have the code that I'm going to put right here. You can just copy and paste. I'll be pasting it, as you can see here, just Control V, and it's going to look like this, and you can save it. Oh, don't do that yet, actually, because that's a whole another step, but essentially it'll look like this. Again, it'll be in a paste bin, so don't worry at all about actually having to type it out yourself because it's very, very annoying and very easy to mess up. All you want to worry about is this little section right here. So this is going to be where your item is found essentially. So you're going to want to replace tm with whatever your mod ID is. So like I said, if it's void rift mod vrm or whatever you put in resources, in my case tutorial mod, you can leave items and then put a slash and whatever the name of your texture is going to be. So in my case, it's going to be ruby.png, so I'm just going to put ruby. If yours is obsidian ingot.png, obsidian_ingot. If that makes sense, hopefully. Just name it whatever your texture will be. We'll be going over textures in a second, but for now, that's all you really need to know. After you're done with that, you can actually just save, and you're going to want to name it essentially the name of your item, so ruby.json. Or you can put, like I said, obsidian_ingot.json. In my case, it's going to be Ruby, so ruby.json, and this is going to be saved in tutorial mod, source, main, resources, assets, your mod ID, models, and item. Just save it inside of there, and you'll see it right here. And I actually have an add-on which helps me look at JSONs and find errors, so that's really nice. But it'll look like this, and don't worry if you don't have the colors, that's not important. But essentially, a really great way to check if this is correct, your JSON, is to copy it and go to this website, which I will provide in the description. It's called JSON Checker, and you just paste it in there and you hit validate JSON, and it'll tell you if it's a valid JSON or not. And if there's errors, it'll let you know where exactly they are. You can see this is a valid JSON, so just use whatever I put in the description. Yeah, so once you've done that, you're basically done with your JSON file. Last but not least, we have to actually make the texture for our item, which will actually be seen in game. Now to make things easy, I'm just gonna go to my desktop, and I've actually already made a texture. It's called Ruby, and it's really simple. I will link a video in the description on how to make Minecraft like modded textures yourself if you want to make them. A really great way is if you don't want to make your own, just go to Google. We'll just do it real quick to show you, and type in, let's say, Minecraft obsidian ingot PNG, and if you go to images, there's a bunch of custom items that you can use like that. Just type in whatever you want, and this is a really great like source or a really great texture that you can use, you can just save it to your desktop and use it. One thing that I do want to mention though is make sure that your items are, or your textures, my bad, sorry, are 64 by 64 pixels. Otherwise Minecraft won't read them. They do read if they're in like weird like amounts of pixels, but I would recommend 64 by 64. That's the standard Minecraft amount. So in my case, I have my Ruby. So take your texture and go into your Minecraft modding folder, go to your mod, then source, main, resources, assets, your mod ID, and textures and items. And inside of here, it's really long, but inside of here, you're going to put your texture. And if you go back into Eclipse, you should see, yeah, here we go. You can see your texture right here, ruby.png. And like I said before, this is the texture that your JSON is referring to right here with items/ruby. So very important that you do that. And if you save, that should be pretty much everything good. So now we can actually run Minecraft to see our item, which is really awesome. So head up to run right here, run client. If you click that, it'll load Minecraft, and I will be right back when it's done loading. Now inside of Minecraft, it's going to be a little laggy because it's like an Eclipse version and it's pretty weird. It's not very optimized, but essentially you can open up your inventory, and if you go to the tab that you set your item in, mine was miscellaneous, and you scroll down, you should be able to, there we go. Oh, there we go. We can find our Ruby. So yeah, it worked perfectly. You can see we have it in our hands. We go to F5, you can see it right there. You should be able to drop it. And yeah, it should look pretty good. Just for comparison, this is what like a diamond looks like. Just for size comparison, they should be very similar in size. Yeah, there you go. And again, it should be whatever item you created. And if you hover over it, it'll say Ruby and the name of the creative tab that it actually is inside of. Now back in Eclipse, since we've set that up, it's now super easy to add new items on the fly really easily. So all you have to do whenever you want to add a new item, you don't need to redo this entire process. No, that's not important. All you have to do is come to your mod items right here inside of your init package and just copy and paste this Ruby line we have right here, or whatever you have there, and just change the name. So in my case, I'm going to make a obsidian ingot as my second item, ingot, and again, just change it inside of here, obsidian _ ingot. And if you save that, all we have to do is go into our models.item, and we're gonna have to make a new JSON. So right click, new untitled text file, and just copy and paste whatever you put in your ruby.json and just put it in here, and just change Ruby to your new texture. So obsidian _ ingot, and if we save that, it'll be obsidian _ ingot .json, and we'll save that in tutorial mod, source, main, resources, assets, your mod ID, and models, and item. And if we go back to our desktop, I have a second texture here. We can just put that inside of our Minecraft modding, mod, source, main, resources, assets, your mod ID, textures, items, drop it in there. And if we run the game, we should have our second item. So it's that easy. All you have to do is make a new JSON and add a new line to mod items, and you should have your new item in the game. One thing I actually forgot to add is if you actually make a new item, make sure to go to en_us.lang in your lang package and add the name to it. So yeah, it should be that simple to add a new item, which is really awesome. So that's going to conclude this actual episode of the tutorial. Hopefully you should now be able to make as many items as you want. In the next episode, we'll be focusing on blocks and maybe even some more like custom cool items. So yeah, get really excited for that, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Thanks everyone for watching.